What if I told you one decision, just one move could rewrite the entire financial blueprint of hip-hop? Not a rumor, not an exaggeration. A cold, hard $100 million, stamped and confirmed. That's exactly what Kendrick Lamar just did. We've seen artists flex cars, jewelry, and streaming numbers. But this is a different universe. In a single calculated move, Kendrick just walked into territory reserved for Fortune 500 CEOs, not rappers. He didn't just cash out, he carved out a new lane. One that every artist, label, and exec is now scrambling to study. And the wildest part? It wasn't about chasing the bag. It was about shifting the power. About proving that ownership, patience, and vision can build wealth faster than any contract ever could. Welcome to the $100 million era. And trust me, this is only the beginning. Hashtag Kendrick Lamar, hashtag hip hop history number 100 million. At Kendrick Lamar at PG Lang Hip-Hop has always been about more than music. From day one, it's been culture, rebellion, identity, and yes, business. But the business side has usually been tilted with labels, promoters, and middlemen pulling the biggest checks while artists pocketed a fraction. Even legends with platinum plaques often ended up with broken contracts, messy audits, or headline-making lawsuits. Then came Kendrick Lamar in 2025. He didn't just step into the money conversation. He hijacked it. With a single move, a partnership deal tied directly to his historic 1 million ticket sellout. Kendrick turned culture into capital in a way hip-hop has never seen before. Reports confirm the numbers. One move, one deal. $100 million locked in. Let's break down what actually happened. The power of ownership, though. First thing to understand is that Kendrick has always played chess while the rest of the industry played checkers. He walked away from Top Dog Entertainment TDE, not in bitterness, but with vision. He launched PG Lang, his own creative company, built not as a label in the old school sense, but as a platform. A hybrid space where music, film, brand partnerships, and storytelling all live under one roof. When the tour opportunity came, fueled by the insane demand that saw 1 million tickets vanish almost instantly, Kendrick didn't sign the kind of standard Live Nation-style contract that so many rappers accept. Instead, PG Lang positioned itself as owner of the tour rights, the branding, and the media packages that came with it. That meant Kendrick wasn't just being paid to perform, he was cashing in on every angle of the business. Ticketing, live stream rights, merch, and global licensing. That's where the $100 million comes in. Because ownership flips the math. Instead of getting 10 to 15% of the pie, Kendrick owned the pie. Not about the bag, about the blueprint. What makes this move shocking isn't just the number, it's what it represents. Kendrick didn't earn $100 million by flooding TikTok with singles. He didn't sell his masters to a hedge fund. He didn't sign a bloated brand deal that cheapens the art. He did it by proving that the live hip-hop experience, when curated with precision and authenticity, is worth CEO-level money. He rewrote the blueprint for how rappers can think about their careers, not as employees of the machine, but as architects of it. This is why the industry is in panic mode. Because if Kendrick can do it, others will try. Imagine J. Cole bundling Dreamville into a festival tour hybrid. Imagine Travis Scott leveraging Astro World-scale hype into ownership of the infrastructure itself. Imagine Drake trying to reclaim dominance not through streams, but by flipping OVO Fest into a billion-dollar global product. But Kendrick was first. He lit the match, the reaction, the announcement dropped like a bomb. Twitter or X, whatever you call it now, exploded. Hashtags like hashtag 100 million move and hashtag KDOT blueprint trended worldwide. Fans weren't just celebrating the flex, they were celebrating the shift. Bro just made more in one deal than half the industry combined. Hashtag respectdog respectage, one fan tweeted. At Kendrick Lamar ain't chasing charts, he's chasing empires. Hash 100 million, wrote another. Even rival fan bases couldn't ignore it. Drake's stans argued it's not about the money, but the music. J. Cole's fans said, Cole would have done it first if he wanted. But underneath the noise, everyone knew this was historic. Forbes and Bloomberg jumped in with coverage. Hip-hop was on the front page of financial news, not just culture blogs. That's how seismic the move was. Beyond Hippopand, here's the wildest part. This wasn't just about hip-hop. The ripple went global. Industry insiders revealed that pop stars, Latin artists, even K-pop groups were quietly studying Kendrick's model. Because if one artist can lock $100 million in one stroke by controlling the ecosystem, why should others settle for crumbs? Think about that for a second. A move made in hip-hop, a genre once dismissed by corporate. America as a fad just redefined the playbook for the entire music industry. That's legacy, the human side. But if you strip away the millions, the numbers, the contracts, what makes this story powerful is the intent. Kendrick Lamar didn't brag about the money. He didn't post pictures of stacks or flex a new mansion. His statement was quiet, almost poetic. This isn't about what I made. It's about what's possible. That's Kendrick. Always bigger than ego, always speaking to the culture. And fans heard it. They didn't see $100 million as a flex. They saw it as proof. Proof that artists don't have to settle. Proof that creativity can pay, not just survive. Proof that hip-hop can run boardrooms, not just stages. Kendrick's one move wasn't just about money. It was about leverage. It was about rewriting the script every rapper is handed when they sign that first contract. It was about reminding the culture that the mic is powerful. But the pen that signs the deal might be even more powerful. And now, the whole industry is scrambling to catch up. Tash 1 move 100 million hashtag Kendrick Lamar hashtag hip hop business. At Kendrick Lamar at PG Lang when news broke that Kendrick Lamar had just locked in $100 million from one move. The first shock hit the fans. But the second, and maybe more dangerous shock hit the industry. The music machine runs on predictability. Labels want predictable release cycles. Promoters want predictable tour numbers. Investors want predictable returns. But Kendrick's play broke the pattern. Suddenly, the most unpredictable thing an artist could do, take ownership. Build their own infrastructure, bet on faith instead of formulas, was also the most profitable. The ripple was immediate. Labels in panic mode, record labels, already fragile in the streaming era, felt the heat first. For years, they've relied on leverage, upfront advances, licensing deals, and control over masters. But Kendrick just proved that ownership can flip the model upside down. He didn't need to chase in advance. He created an asset bigger than any label could have offered. Think about it. $100 million in one deal. That's more than some entire mid-sized labels generate in a year. Executives at Universal, Sony, and Warner had emergency calls within 24 hours of the news breaking. What if other rappers start demanding the same? What if artists stop asking permission and start building their own pipelines? You could almost hear the fear crackling across the industry phone lines. Rivals react hand. Then came the rappers. Drake's camp was reportedly stunned. For over a decade, he's been the artist associated with dominance. Chart dominance, touring dominance, brand dominance. But Kendrick just shifted the conversation. For once, Drake wasn't the headline for numbers. He was the one watching someone else make history. The memes came fast, Drake got streams. Kendrick got empires. Hash 100 million move. This is why at Kendrick Lamar is the GOAT. Hashtag respect a game. Over in Dreamville, J. Cole's fans were quick to frame the moment as part of a bigger wave. Cole and Kendrick been preaching independence. One tweet read, "Now the world catching up." Hashtag revolution, not trend. Even Kanye West, never one to miss a cultural shift, reportedly called the move genius in a leaked group chat, saying Kendrick had done what Jay-Z started but on steroids. The sponsorship earthquake corporate sponsors didn't waste time either. Brands like Nike, Pepsi, and Apple Music have built fortunes by attaching themselves to stars. But Kendrick's $100 million play exposed something. Stars don't just need brands, Brands need stars. The day after the news, analysts reported that companies were already circling PG Long, desperate to align themselves with the tour. But here's the kicker. Kendrick now had leverage like never before. Instead of chasing deals, he could dictate them. Want access to this cultural moment? Pay top dollar on Kendrick's terms. That flipped the brand-artist dynamic completely. For decades, artists bent themselves into sponsor-friendly shapes. Now sponsors were bending themselves around Kendrick. A global shockwave. The ripple wasn't confined to the US and South Korea. K-pop executives reportedly convened emergency meetings. In London, grime and drill rappers cited Kendrick's move as proof that global acts can build their own empires. Latin stars like Bad Bunny and J Balvin were already exploring how to replicate the blueprint in their own markets. This wasn't just a hip-hop story anymore. It was a music industry earthquake. The investors take notice: Wall Street, Silicon Valley. And private equity firms have been buying music catalogs for years, treating songs like stock portfolios. But Kendrick's move showed them something new. The future money isn't in old masters, it's in living culture. An internal report leaked from Goldman Sachs framed Kendrick's play as a paradigm shift in the monetization of cultural capital. Translation: they know artists like Kendrick aren't just entertainers. They're institutions, capable of moving markets with one announcement. Imagine being an investor and realizing the next trillion-dollar opportunity might not be in tech, but in an artist's ability to mobilize 1 million humans in real time. The clock is ticking for rivals. The pressure is immediate. Drake can't stay quiet forever. J. Cole can't let Dreamville stagnate. Travis Scott, Post Malone, even rising stars like Lil Baby and Doja Cat. They all have to ask the same question. How do we match this? But here's the problem. You can't replicate Kendrick's move overnight. It wasn't luck. It was years of positioning, patient brand building, refusal to compromise on art, and a willingness to step outside the traditional label structure. Anyone trying to copy it quickly will look desperate, and the fans can smell desperation a mile away. Which means Kendrick isn't just ahead. He might have bought himself a lead so big that others will spend years trying to catch up. The bigger picture at its core, this isn't about numbers. It's about power. For decades, hip-hop has been the most influential genre on earth. Yet its artists often have the least power in business rooms. Kendrick just shattered that ceiling. He showed that hip-hop artists don't just belong at the table. They are the table, and the $100 million. That's not just a payday. That's a message. BROADCAST across the industry. This is what happens when you believe in your vision and build your own lane. The scramble isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. Rivals are regrouping. Brands are begging. Labels are sweating. And fans are watching, tweeting, and reminding everyone who set the new standard. Kendrick Lamar didn't just make $100 million. He made the industry admit it needs him more than he needs it. #Kendrick Lamar, #100 million move, #industry shift. At Kendrick Lamar at PG Lang, when Kendrick Lamar locked in $100 million with a single move. It wasn't just a personal victory. It was a blueprint. A map showing every artist from the underground hustler to the SDM-filling superstar that there's another way. A way that doesn't run through the same old industry gates. Independent artists are watching for independent artists grinding on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, or Spotify playlists. This story hit like lightning. They saw more than money. They saw validation. The system has always told them, sign the deal, take the advance, don't ask too many questions. But Kendrick's move screams the opposite. Own your work, build your brand. Trust your audience. The $100 million wasn't luck. It was leverage born of patience. Years of creating authentic work. Years of resisting shortcuts. Years of trusting that quality would outlive hype. That's the message independent artists are holding on to. It can pay off to build slow and steady instead of chasing viral flames. One indie rapper tweeted, "Kendrick just showed us it's not about chasing every trend. It's about making something timeless and then owning it. Hashtag blueprint, not shortcut." Mid-tier artists in a new reality. 4 mid-tier artists. The ones with loyal fan bases, but not yet household names. Kendrick's $100 million deal is both inspiring and intimidating. On one hand, it proves fans will invest in artists they trust. On the other, it raises the bar for what's possible. Suddenly, a gold-certified album or a sold-out 5,000-seat venue doesn't feel like the finish line anymore. It's not just about numbers now. It's about impact. Artists who once measured success by streams are now asking, what does my movement look like? What's my story? How do I turn listeners into a community that sees me as more than entertainment? That's where Kendrick's blueprint shifts the game. He didn't just sell tickets. He sold faith. And mid-tier artists who figure out how to build that kind of trust will be the ones who thrive in this new era. Superstars feel the pressure for the Drakes, the Coles, the Travises of the world. Kendrick's move is a challenge. It's not enough to dominate charts or have the biggest festivals set anymore. The real flex is building an ecosystem so strong, so undeniable, that the culture pays you $100 million for it. And here's the twist. Superstars can't fake this. You can't buy authenticity overnight. You can't fake patience. You can't manufacture a community that believes in you if all you've given them is singles-4-streams. That single quotes as why Kendrick's blueprint is scary for some. Because it rewards consistency, honesty, and artistry, things money can't instantly buy. The next generation, then there's the new wave. The kids making beats in their bedrooms. The young MCs uploading their first tracks. The singers still dreaming about their breakout moment. For them, Kendrick's $100 million move is more than a headline. It's permission. Permission to dream bigger than record deals. Permission to ask for ownership. Permission to imagine hip-hop as not just a stage, but a business empire they can design on their own terms. Imagine being 16, watching Kendrick rewrite history, and realizing you don't have to beg a label for crumbs. You can build your own table. That's revolutionary. Culture over contracts. This is what truly sets Kendrick apart. His $100 million wasn't about squeezing money out of the system. It was about building culture first, then cashing in. He didn't go viral with gimmicks. He didn't sell his masters. He didn't flood fans with fast food music. He built trust, story, narrative, community, and then turned that into capital. That's why this blueprint is so powerful. It teaches artists that the money comes after the culture, not before. It flips the old industry mantra on its head. A shift in mindset. Here's the bottom line. Kendrick didn't just change the balance sheet. He changed the mindset. For artists, stop chasing crumbs. Start building pies for fans. Realize your ticket, your stream. Your merch purchase is an investment in the culture you love for the industry. Accept that artists no longer need to play by outdated rules. That's the true revolution. $100 million is the headline. But the real story is the shift in what artists now believe is possible. A living blueprint. What makes this blueprint even more powerful is that it's alive. Kendrick isn't done. This wasn't a one-time cash grab. It's the start of a larger architecture. His move opens doors for collabs, for documentaries, for global expansions. Every brick he lays becomes part of the map others can follow. And fans. They're not just watching, they're building alongside him. Every retweet, every ticket bought, every conversation online is part of the movement. Because this isn't just Kendrick's story. It's hip-hop's story. It's a movement from survival to ownership, from performance to power. From chasing deals to writing them. Kendrick's $100 million wasn't just income. It was instruction, a living guide to the future of artistry, and the question hanging in the air now is simple. Who's brave enough to follow it? Hash one move, 100 million hashtag Kendrick blueprint, hashtag hip hop future at Kendrick Lamar at PG Lang. When Kendrick Lamar secured a $100 million with one move, the tremor didn't stop at hip hop. It spread like an earthquake, shaking labels, reshaping business models, and rewriting what entertainers across the board now see as possible. This wasn't just a win for one artist. It was a reset button, hip-hop's ripple effect. The hip-hop community immediately understood the gravity. For decades, rappers were told, get your advance, tour until you're drained, and pray the label doesn't shelf your project. Kendrick flipped the script, suddenly. Conversations at studios from Atlanta to New York to LA shifted. Artists started asking, if Kendrick can command $100 million, what's stopping me from negotiating ownership? Why should I give up my masters for pennies when the audience is clearly willing to support independence? Is streaming really the ceiling or just a floor I've been tricked into accepting? Kendrick's move ignited these debates in real time. Hashtags like hashtag one move 100 million and hashtag own your art started trending on X, formerly Twitter. It was bigger than one man's payday. It was a wake-up call. Labels are nervous, let's be real. The ones sweating the most aren't fans. They're the labels. For decades, they've built empires off artist dependency. If Kendrick proves you can bypass the system and still secure generational wealth, what's left for them to control? Industry insiders are already whispering, do we lower advance offers? How do we repackage our deals to seem less exploitative? Will we lose more Alistairs to independence? The $100 million check isn't just Kendrick's win, it's a warning shot. A declaration that labels may no longer be the gatekeepers. The walls are crumbling and artists are walking out free. The entertainment industry takes notes, it's not just music watching. Hollywood, sports, and digital creators are studying. Kendrick's move closely. Actors trapped in studio contracts are asking how they can take control of their IP the way Kendrick did with his art. Athletes are rethinking endorsement deals, realizing maybe they don't need a sneaker brand to validate them if they can build their own. YouTubers and streamers see Kendrick's play as proof that building community first, then monetizing leads to sustainable wealth. Kendrick turned a hip-hop deal into a cross-industry case study. Everyone who's ever felt underpaid for their talent now sees a roadmap. The business shift here's where the shockwave hits hardest. Business models for decades. The formula was simple. Labels control distribution. Fans consume passively. Artists get paid last. Kendrick just flipped every line of that equation. Now, distribution is direct. Artists can reach fans without middlemen. Fans are active investors. Buying tickets and merch isn't just consumption, it's community building. Artists get paid first. Ownership puts them at the top of the food chain, not the bottom. That's not a minor tweak. That's a revolution. Culture over charts. And here's what's wild. Kendrick's $100 million didn't come from chasing billboard placements or TikTok virality. It came from cultural weight. When you shift the culture, you don't just win charts, you win loyalty. And loyalty is worth more than streams. This is the lesson every artist brand. An influencer is now waking up too. Impact scales faster than algorithms. Fans realize their power. Another layer of this aftershock. For years, fans thought they were just along for the ride. But Kendrick's win shows them their power. Every stream, every merch drop, every ticket purchase adds up, and when funneled correctly, it creates enough leverage to move $100 million. Fans now understand they're not just spectators, they're stakeholders. And once fans start acting like investors in culture, the industry will never look the same again. One viral TikTok put it perfectly. We didn't just give Kendrick $100 million. We gave ourselves proof that we decide who wins. Drake, J. Cole, and the rest of the pack. You can't ignore the competitive ripple either. Drake, J. Cole, Travis Scott, Future, they've all thrived in the current system. But now, they're facing a new challenge. Prove you can move culture, not just units. Drake's empire suddenly looks fragile. It's based on playlists instead of deep loyalty. J. Cole's authenticity gives him a shot at Kendrick's blueprint. But will he take the leap? Travis has the hype, but does he have the infrastructure to turn it into ownership? Kendrick just raised the bar so high that even the giants feel small. A global wave, the aftershock, didn't stop in the US either. Artists in Africa, the UK, Latin America, and Asia are already pointing to Kendrick's move as proof they can demand more from their local industries. From Afrobeats to K-pop, artists are saying if Kendrick can flip the game, so can we? This is no longer a US hip-hop story. It's a global artist movement. Beyond $100 million. And here's the scariest part for the industry. This is just the beginning. If one move can net $100 million, what happens when Kendrick scales it? What happens when artists everywhere replicate it? What happens when fans fully embrace ownership culture? That's not millions. That's billions. Kendrick didn't just cash a check, he planted a seed. A seed that could grow into the biggest redistribution of wealth in entertainment history. Final thought, the aftershock of Kendrick's $100 million deal proves one thing. The old ways are dying. The gatekeepers are crumbling. And a new era of artistry, ownership, and cultural power has begun. The industry can try to ignore it. They can try to downplay it. But the blueprint is out there now. And it can't be UNLERNED. Hip-hop has always been about turning struggle into triumph. But this is hip-hop turning triumph into generational wealth. One move, E-million. A new world. One move, 100 million. Kendrick Lamar. Hip Hop Revolution at Kendrick Lamar, at PG Lang, at Billboard, at Complex, at Rolling Stone. And there it is. One move, $100 million. And a shockwave that the industry will never recover from. Kendrick Lamar didn't just sign a deal. He redrew the map for every rapper, every creator, every fan who believes in something bigger than the system. The question now isn't whether Kendrick can do it again. It's who will dare to follow. Will Drake risk his empire to match it? Will J. Cole finally make the leap? Or will a new name rise from the underground and take this blueprint global? The culture has spoken, and it's hungry for change. This is only the beginning. Stay locked in, because the next chapter of this story could flip hip-hop upside down all over again. One move, 100 million. Kendrick Lamar. Hip-hop history at Kendrick Lamar. At PG Lang, at Billboard, at Complex.